welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy Podcast. My name is Jed. We are exploring the question, are all beliefs bad? Maybe just some beliefs are bad. Maybe I can keep my beliefs and still be a good person. So, we have been exploring that. And we have been breaking down all of the different kinds of beliefs that are. And distinguishing the word belief from its technical description, which does include two kinds of belief that are trust in understanding. So that's not what we really mean by belief. And then we looked at understanding. Understanding itself has, just adjust some EQ, has two different kinds. Just as we've distinguished two different kinds of belief in principle, real belief and actually understanding, but you haven't done the work to understand it, but you trust in the person who has the understanding. So technically you're believing someone else, but it's a trust in understanding, not belief. Now, what we saw last time is, for even understanding to work, there has to be some principles that have to pre-exist. Axioms is a fancy word for them. What if we understand them? Now we're in true understanding, because what we're basing our understanding of isn't the physical world. We're understanding mind. We're understanding the principles, causes, forces that have scope over the physical world. That's philosophy. That's also metaphysics. And if we take what we discover in understanding the forces and principles of mind that have to pre-exist for physical scientific understanding, if we take those principles or forces and we personify them with characters, that's mythology. Tell stories about them. And if some of those characters have supernatural powers, that's theology. Theology is a personification of these principles of understanding. That's what we saw last time. And then we pointed out, hang on a second. Are there even higher ways of apprehending beyond even understanding? If we can recognize human problems as simply the movement from belief into understanding, and the human drama is struggling with human beings' loyalty to belief that keeps us savage and violent and stupid and cruel and sadistic. How do we overcome the loyalty to beliefs we think we need but don't, and move into understanding where our belief teachers taught us to fear but we shouldn't? How do we overcome our earliest teaching, which is false, based on belief? That's the human drama. Problems caused by belief, solved with understanding. Our purpose, to move from one to the other. Now, we can even represent that movement within a map of our soul's development. Called the Hypotheses of Parmenides, sometimes called the greatest book never read. While Plato's Republic is considered top 5 works of Western literature ever, which is interesting because the people who have made those decisions haven't even been able to read the real book, because we've only had a Balboa translation for a couple of decades. So imagine how good it really is. Whoops. Okay, so I had to make some space on my computer. Let's go back to what we're talking about. So, if I remember, can we map the stages of human development or ways of, oh yes, the greatest book never read. That's right. Called the greatest, but the Republic is considered one of the greatest books, if not the greatest book, but which is amazing considering we haven't even been able to read the real version. Imagine what will happen if these people get their hands on the Balboa translation. Oh my God, they will learn so much and they'll become better people. Maybe. But even that book leads into the Parmenides. So even greater than the greatest work of Western literature. Now, as we've been learning for ourselves, another reason, well, the reason it's the greatest book never read is because it outlines this map of all of the possible ways of apprehending. How do we make sense of the world? What are all of the possible worldviews? And as people with different worldviews gain power and influence over society, what are all of the possible kinds of societies that can exist? Periods of history that can be. And what can happen in them? For instance, this book predates Christianity. And all of the atrocities and oppression and murder and the Dark Ages, all of the things that follow with Christianity, we would have been able to predict if we read the book. Hundreds of years of oppression of various different people and murder and torture, all in the name of Christianity. Literally now, the Israelis and the Americans are claiming the Christian Paul, we've looked a lot at Paul's prophecy about Armageddon. We have to literally blow up the planet we live on and murder each other. So Magic Jesus comes back, which is nothing at all even close to what Jesus said. If, of course, we read Mark and the Gnostic Gospels, which we have been having a look at. Just as Paul's ramblings. Once again, before Paul came along, we could have predicted, oh yes, if we listen to this jabroni, this is the kind of world that will play out. We wouldn't have had to have been in this position. The greatest book never read. So, and of course we can read it. And we've read the introduction and the first hypothesis on this channel. You can find that on YouTube. Follow along. That's where we learnt the dialectic, which is what we read in this book. Socrates pointing out how he got into philosophy. This worldview that the world is a battleground between the forces of good and evil, and there's no meaning, and it's endless, and there's a conflict in the world, and all we can do is blow up the world, and that conflict is in your soul. That's all that there is. Socrates grew up in that culture. And he talked about how he discovered meaning in the recognition of harmony and meaning and patterns in music, and then met a beautiful woman who shared a love of understanding and talked about Xenophanes' quote, "It is the whole that is seeing, hearing, and thinking," which is an interesting thing to wonder about, contemplate. Xenophanes was Parmenides' teacher, by the way. He got into Heraclitus, who talked about how that there is a one that uses a paradigm to create reality, and of course after that him and his bros tracked down Parmenides himself. Socrates said, that's where I learned the dialectic, and with the dialectic I was able to understand my dreams, and that changed everything. Which is significant because we have been ranking the levels of spiritual or philosophical figures. And the standard Socrates is pointing to for the highest is those who are doing dream analysis as the highest standard of philosophical development. And we've been talking about how we have questions about, hey, the ultimate self that we're seeking, how does it relate to our dream maker? And if we are learning to read in this channel, can we practice that reading by applying it to our dreams? Is every dream a complete? And by the way, that's the standard for why we read these books. We read these books because they're complete and they're intelligible, meaning they're meaningful and we can learn about reality because they reflect the logos, but also they're complete, so we don't have to leave shit out or add our own stupid beliefs in. Dreams are a fantastic example of that kind of a text. It's complete. It's intelligible. And if you get into dream work, you know that, hey, you can find out for yourself that it knows all about you, both your true self and your stage of development, and your false idea of yourself that's causing your problems. It has both the logos and the pathologos. And as we've just talked about, that's the meaning of life, to master the logos and address the pathologos. Pathologos, the root cause of our fervent loyalty to belief. In lots of ways you can get beliefs, but the reason we are stupidly loyal to what's harmful is our pathologos. So the human purpose to move from belief into understanding ultimately is, how do we remove our pathologos and perfect the logos? Dreams have that. In fact, the Republic, as we just mentioned, one of the key points in the book is Socrates saying, it's only through dream analysis can you remove your blocks to doing philosophy, to learning. Only through dreams can you get the specific personal material you need to solve your specific personal pathologos. So we can wonder about what kind of a level of functioning our dream maker is operating on, considering we have recognized our highest functioning is a similar thing, or the same thing, to practice to master and practice the art of the dialectic, which is the use of understanding to do that, giving us the pyramid. The pyramid that shows that our ultimate goal as human beings is the dialectic, because it's what's used to perfect our reading, our understanding, and purify our false beliefs. So to cross this line is our human job. And all human conflict is a representation in real time, in people, in drama, with nuclear bombs sometimes. This line, crossing this line, that's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So if we move these arrows up, we'll see that they are all pointing to the dialectic. But I can't because I got the D in there as well. The dialectic. So, these arrows are all pointing to the dialectic. That's the purpose. That's what we're here for. That's the dialectic. And what we did last time was break down the different kinds of beliefs that are. Let's have a quick look at that list. Quick review. So, when we say belief, we mean the regular beliefs. Supernatural beliefs that can't be proven with evidence and reason. Can't prove Mary was a virgin. How can you prove that if you blow up the world that Jesus comes back? Of course you can't. So the technical definition of that is an absurd belief. That's the definition, because if I say, hey, believe there is a magic space monster standing on your head, and you say, well, okay, why? Oh, nothing. What do you mean nothing? Oh, I can't prove it or give any evidence for it, just believe it. You'd say, you're an idiot. You're crazy. You've gone crazy. You'd say,
it's sad, and I'm sad for you.
And you'd say,
hey, whoa, don't, that's a scary voice, man. Don't do that. Hey, my kids watch this.
Okay, I won't do the scary voice.
Unbelievable sluts these days.
You'd say that. You'd say,
Fuck.
Absurd belief. Religious beliefs, supernatural belief. That's where religion lives. Now we're including sometimes religious beliefs are disproven as well, like dinosaurs. Right? Believe that dinosaurs are actually the devil. lying to you, that kind of crap. So notice, there is a kind of scientific belief that is based on evidence and reason. That's what we mean traditionally when we say understanding, scientific understanding, evidence, reason. But not just evidence and reason. You have to, in order to do science, you have to accept certain universal truths and principles called axioms. You have to accept that if you add 2 and 2 together, the result will be greater. The wholes being greater than the parts. So there's a bunch of rules. You have to accept that if A equals B and C equals B, then A will also be equal to C. You have to. Can't play if you don't. So evidence, reason, following principles, axioms, universal standards. And then we're saying actually, true understanding would be wondering about not just applying them for physical things, making nuclear bombs and mousetraps. Oh, hello, welcome. Hooray. Welcome to the new follower.
Everybody should love sluts. I love sluts.
Let's keep that in mind. Everybody should. All right, welcome. So what we're seeing is true understand. Hey, buddy, I love your stream and enjoy being part of your fan community. Really? What do you love most about our fan community? I'd love to hear it. It's great news. Got a fan community and someone's loving it. So, not just using those things to, in the physical world, in the regular understanding, evidence and reason applied to the physical world, but true understanding, or Dianoia, would be understanding those very forces, principles, causes, axioms. Dianoia. Now, what's interesting about that is the physical world is separated from mind, therefore from soul, and therefore from self. If you're only in the physical world, therefore scientific understanding alone can make nuclear bombs, but not ask the question of whether we should dig up dangerous rocks from the ground for nuclear power plants, or whether we should not. What's different about true understanding, or Dianoia, is its mind, which is intelligent, alive, has a purpose, has a paradigm, meaning, a reflection of self, the use of self, the demonstration of self. All of the things that a scientist can very easily reject in the 5th hypothesis. Remember, believers are the 4th hypothesis, but 5th hypothesis is rejecting mind. And materialists or empiricists, empirical senses people, physical sense people, can say, hey, who's to say whether we should make a military industrial complex? I don't know. I just want to make some profits. Morality is for religious people. I don't care about that. Bull fucking shit. But that's the problem that happens when we keep our understanding just in its physical world expression. We want to understand true understanding, Dianoia, which is understanding those principles, forces, and axioms of mind, which includes goodness. What's the idea of the good? So religious people say, no, you have to believe some fairy tales about how if you don't do what daddy says, you go to hell. Because where do you get your morality from? Garbage. True morality is actually understanding what is good and beneficial for our soul, mind, and self and planet. Dianoia is where we get true morality. Actually understanding the good, not making up bullshit, not believing Netanyahu or Pope Francis or whoever the fuck, doing what he says, following those sick bastards. No, because you're just following their pathologos, their sickness, their problem, because they happen to be in a position where they neglect their work to remove their false beliefs and just venerate it. It's not my stupid ass racist beliefs, it's Jesus's or Abraham's or Moses's or Lord Zenu's. So, regular understanding, the use of evidence and reason. True understanding, reflecting on axioms. So within the class of belief, we've got axioms, because you start as a stepping stone by just believing them. So you can have them as a belief. That is a kind of belief technically, but not really, because what you are really being ruled by are those universal principles, axioms. Universal truths you can't prove with physical evidence and reason, but you need for scientific understanding that does use evidence and reason in the physical world. So technically, before you become a scientist, you could trust in the scientific understanding of your science teacher. So that could be a class of belief. And before you get into true philosophy or true understanding or true thinking, you start with believing that it's worth reading these books. But that's not really belief when we say belief, because that's being ruled by dianoia or understanding. Belief is believing somebody else, which allows you to reject evidence and reasoning, your own use of mind or intellect. Believe Daddy, Netanyahu, Trump, Hitler, Pope whoever, Imam whoever, Rabbi whoever, cool Christian preacher who does the skateboarding, Frank, Mormon preacher, Joseph of the Holy Underpants. Gooners.
They're like a goon. They're a gooner.
They're a gooner.
Gooners.
Gooners. Prejudice beliefs. So, while supernatural or absurd beliefs can't be proven, prejudice beliefs are actively disproven. Yes, racism has been proven wrong, you idiot. Sexism proven wrong, you idiot. But notice, believers or rulers who rule through belief, conservatives, clergy, capitalists, yeah, they're all about prejudice. They're all about prejudice beliefs. Yeah, women suck. Don't they tell the incels? Isn't that whole Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and the Christian and the conservative thing to hate women? Sexist. Oh, and to hate non-whites? Yeah, racist. Oh, do they also appeal to the Christians or the Jews? Yeah. Supernatural or religious, yeah. And the worst class of belief is also disproven by evidence and reason, but it's unsuspected, and it's about self and reality. You don't even know you're carrying it. It's the most fundamental root causal belief, and it's the cause of human problems, because it is a blind and savage loyalty to beliefs and a violent and savage opposition to understanding. The zombie virus, that which keeps us chained to fate. So that's what we mean when we say belief. Distinguished from scientific understanding and axioms or dianoia understanding. And this, of course, so we can see even scientific understanding is still a problem You can function in a way to make a mousetrap or a hand grenade or a nuclear bomb, but you have no understanding of whether or not you should, how you should use it, how to benefit the world. And of course, it's the combination of all of these 1, 2, 3, 4 kinds of beliefs that are bringing about the end of humanity and causing mass suffering on our planet and in our species. So, proving once again that the cause of human problems is simply one word: belief. So this is a kind of a proof by division. So notice what we've done is proven that the root cause of problems are belief because we've divided it up into its parts. We can also prove the root cause of human problems are belief by demonstration. Proof. Proof. The cause of human problems is belief. So that would be division. Division, which is showing that scientific beliefs with supernatural beliefs with prejudice beliefs with pathologos beliefs all function together to cause the Armageddon we're facing right now. Human Armageddon. So literally, the people with the American and Israeli military who have all of the nuclear weapons are trying to they literally said this to their troops: light the signal fire that will begin the end of our species so Jesus will come back. Armageddon. They are manipulating people's pathologos through their prejudice: anti-brown people, anti-Muslim, anti-women, anti-different than you. Supernatural beliefs, there's that Jesus shit, and they're making use of the scientific beliefs needed to make the nuclear weapons that they are going to, unless we wake up and do something about it, which would be simply telling the truth about what's going on and doing something about it with understanding. Armageddon, but also mass death, destruction, and suffering. Inflicted on our own people and our planet. What a crazy species. Not crazy, understandable. Suffering. Because it seems like our purpose as an evolving species is to distinguish ways intelligent species apprehend themselves in reality. Believing something is true is not the same as understanding it's true. We recognize that because we don't let some drunken, coked up rich kid say, well, I believe I'm a dentist. All right, sir, here's a hammer. Get to smashing. We say you have to never function through your beliefs. In fact, there are things you have to learn how to make sure your personal beliefs don't intrude on your profession as a dentist. Treat people equally and all that sort of stuff. And we have to demonstrate you have an understanding of dentistry. Always. Let's turn this down a little bit. How's that? Is that better? All right, we'll stick with that one. So our purpose is to end our problems, and we will face problems, and our species will go kaput unless we recognize the difference between belief and understanding, so that we can move from belief into understanding. We can also demonstrate that belief is the cause of our problem, because we can recognize that in principle, axiomatically. Again, we can see evidence and reasons for this in our physical world, but because it's an axiom, we'll have to understand our soul and mind, Dianoia. But axiomatically, as a principle, we all souls seek, or psyches if you don't like the word soul, seek good. Seek their good. Belief can make because belief has nothing to do with evidence, reason, or principles, or truth, therefore, can make the bad belief can convince. Belief can make people think that the bad is good. While understanding, true understanding can't, because you're actually understanding the good. Or bad can cause something good. If we only kill enough immigrants, then your price of eggs will go down, which is nonsense, but it doesn't matter that it's irrational, because reason is the realm of understanding. So this is how belief functions, to convince people that the bad is good, or that the bad thing, if we only kill enough children at Epstein Island, then Western civilization, blah, 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 blah. Then Trump will save the world for Jesus or some fucking bullshit. That's belief. While understanding can't. You can't do that with understanding. If you understand the good, you can't be tricked. So, by seeing how belief functions in principle, even prior to its dividing up into its parts, we've got another proof for why human problems are caused by belief. Go one step further. Definition. We're doing a dialectic, aren't we? The definition of belief is going to our... So, what human cognition uses... So we're talking about the different ways we apprehend our world, how we make sense of the world. Ourselves, the world, our problems. The tools we use are these self-logos. Whole, part, same, different, everything that you think about uses these. Beauty, everything that we seek our goodness, we seek our benefit, we seek our excellence. So the goodnesses that motivate, that we use our thinking to reach, to determine, is that good, is that bad, is that beautiful, is that ugly? Truth, lesser, greater, ultimate, is that true, is that false? Or is it a higher principle of truth? So, the triads, lesser, greater, ultimate. False, true, the principle of truth. Belief, understanding, Dianoia. Belief, what's false. Understanding, what's true. Dianoia, the higher, the ultimate use of understanding. So our problems happen when we have a lesser, we take the lesser, the distorted appearance of truth that we get through belief. And our job, therefore, is to understand the greater and the principle, the self. So there's our use of lesser, greater, ultimate. The use of these monads is, well, we can have an idea of justice or beauty or goodness that is false because of our belief, the nature of human problems. There we go, right there. Philosophy is to have a greater understanding and direct experience of the true nature of beauty, justice, and goodness. The greater version of it. Now we call that the penultimate spiritual experience, because for there to even be a truth about beauty and justice and goodness and benefit and excellence and reality, for there to be even that, there has to be a cause. And we've seen the causes are prior, independent, and higher. But we can reach there because of the principle of likeness, the axiom of likeness, as above, so below. So there is something we can learn from the paradigm, the true model. So if understanding, we said, where does morality actually come from? The use of understanding in the greater sense, to understand and verify. So the reasoning is the understanding of this experience, and the evidence is you actually experience it. That's the verification or evidence, the higher use of evidence. It's not evidence perceived through your physical senses, it's evidence experienced more directly. So that layer of separation of physical in the physical world, it's through my eyes that my mind is able to verify in experience or evidence for science, scientific understanding. But we don't have that. We don't look through our eyes. We look at it directly, or perceive it or apprehend it directly in nous. Nous is the experience of the greater. But of course, what we've been seeing is Socrates talking to Jesus about his glimpse into that. And at the end of the book, he said, by the way, must that also have a cause? So that cause will be higher than the greater experience or greatest experience of beauty, justice, and truth. But it will have some kind of likeness. That's the biggest puzzle of philosophy. How does everything that we learn through Dianoia understanding or Dianoia reasoning and confirmed in nous evidence or experience, how does everything we learn from our highest use of understanding and our highest use of experience tell us something about the self that we can anticipate, be open to, and recognize in some way when we get there? because it's going to be different, because it's not an experience. So that's how we use these Lego pieces in the monad and the triad team. But there's one more team, the duads. Whole and part. It's our same and different, like and unlike. Everything you've ever experienced or thought about is like something, but it's unlike it in that it's a different thing. It's the same as something. This chicken is the same as the flamingo, but it's different because one's yellow and one is a coffee hound. Flamingo loves to drink the coffee. So these are just the fundamental building blocks or Lego pieces of thinking, but also experience. Everything you've experienced is the same and different, or whole and part, or one and many. Perception, experience, existence, and in your dreams, and understanding. These are the building blocks for all of them. So, what makes these different ways of apprehension different is the cognitive function we use. So we use these duads to define, what does belief mean? Defining belief, you have to accept a limit. You only wear these magic underpants. You only listen to your imam and not the rabbi, or the rabbi and not the preacher, or the preacher and not the minister, or the minister and not the pope, depending on what belief-based group you're in. Or Trump and not the Democrats. Don't give a fuck who's telling the truth. It's not a matter of truth for those who are operating in belief. As we've said, belief has nothing to do with truth. It's just believing someone. In fact, as we will see, belief is defined in opposition to truth, because while the lesser we can say is what's false, the greater is what's true, and the ultimate is the axiom or principle of truth itself that allows for a model and copy reflection in reality. The greater of these two terms is whole, same, like, rest, unlimited. The lesser, this side. Belief is to accept the limit from an experience in time, keeping you stuck in the physical world of time. In history, as Socrates said to Jesus, religious gods are just gods playing out in history, helping a chosen people and do whatever in their time, in the physical world. Always in motion, always in conflict, never at peace. Always apart from the whole. So belief is defined by the lesser of these selfers, that's what we call them, because in Nous they all have their own selfhood, their aspects of mind, have their own kind of being and functioning and force in the world, scope. The axiom of 2 and 2 is 4 is different than A equals to B is C equals in that other one we did. Different, they're different things, different scope, different causal forces. Belief is defined by limited and bound by the lesser in conflict with the greater. If we weren't in conflict, we wouldn't have our problems. We would just, well, that's our job, to recognize this and do what we need to do as a society to do it anyway, to recognize human beings are in conflict with their greater cognitive function, the greater species, the greater way of living, greater than capitalism, greater than religion, greater than conservatism, greater than fascism, equality, universal principles, happiness, meeting human needs, finding our purpose, destiny, ultimate goals and excellence, escaping our fate, and suffering, that's a greater thing. But I don't want to do it because I like hurting women because I'm a Christian. Fuck off. I know you don't like it because you were raised as a human baby who got the beliefs from your parents. As we've been reading in the text, Socrates pointed out, the purpose of humanity is to surface all of the beliefs. That's our job as evolution. We've moved into a stage of animal evolution where we can have these different cognitive apprehension abilities. We have to distinguish them. And to move from the lesser to the greater, we have to surface all of the harmful beliefs humans can have and learn to understand them and not give them nuclear weapons as we currently do. That's the absurdity of our current society. We give the thing that we're supposed to do, surface the sickness and address it. Instead of that, we give these people all the power. Oh, and what do you know? They do sick things to other people. Murder humans for fun. That kind of sick shit. Which Paul did, by the way. So we can get another insight as to why modern Christians listen to Paul and not Jesus. Someone who also liked to murder Christians for fun. So, by definition, belief is to be the lesser or function through the lesser, identified with the lesser. So the self-identification with the lesser. I am a Mormon. I accept these limits. I never watch Harry Potter and I only do soaking.
Gooners.
As a gooner.
Gooners.
Gooners.
Gooner bait.
I'm doing gooner bait for clicks.
I'm just asking
For some goon.
Gooners.
Gooners.
Can I do my plugs now?
No,
I'm trying to
no.
do comedy career.
No plugs. Not for now.
Can't you just engage with anything in a way that's like meaningful ever? Like, it's just boring, I think, is the problem. I'm just bored of it.
Yes. No plugs. Do something meaningful. So, there's our triad of self. I identify as a Mormon with magic underpants. My state of mind is, I'm scared of people who are not pure white. Or think with their brains and not with the text of Joseph Smith, white Jesus. See, it's absurd and funny, but if you were a baby in that world, it's normal. That's our job, to recognize this, to do this, and our functioning. Killing the Muslims, oppressing women, etc., etc. So there's our self-triad. Our self-triad is in the lesser, functioning in opposition to the greater. That's the fourth hypothesis, belief by definition. And really quickly, the fifth hypothesis, atheism or materialism. You're in the lesser, but you deny the existence of the greater. There is no whole. There is no meaning. There's no mind. There is no objective truth of goodness and morality. It's just all, dog eat dog world out there. It's evolution, baby. Survival of the fittest. Understanding? Your state of mind is of the whole, of the greater, and your functioning is providential to the parts, intelligent and caring. Now, we can call that an art, because an art requires knowledge of the whole, understanding of the parts, used to benefit the subjects. Understanding. Now, we've recognized that's the fifth hypothesis, materialism. The fourth belief, notice, while materialism denies what we need to solve problems and reach excellence or survive and flourish, that's why it's a problem. And belief functions in direct opposition to anyone who is trying to do anything good. Murder Socrates for doing thinking because he didn't agree with the official religions. So these are the people murdering people for fun because they think that's what it means to be a good Christian or good Mormon or good Jew or whatever. Therefore, human ignorance is defined by these two. Understanding is our job to move into from the fourth to the third, because we all have belief. Even materialists or dualists who deny the existence of mind still have their own family beliefs where they learnt that shit. Therefore, the pathologos belief into the logos mastery through understanding. But understanding can facilitate even higher. That's what we're doing today. Are there even higher ways of apprehending reality, even higher than understanding? There are two, which is the ultimate and penultimate spiritual experiences, 1 and 2. The two varieties of enlightenment experiences. We can also define them with these building blocks, because of course they're the building blocks. The whole of all parts together. Second hypothesis. And the first, Socrates gave us a clue. In the book, Socrates said, hang on a second. And by the way, this is a question we've been carrying from 2 episodes ago. Why the heck did Socrates explain it this way? Relief. When Socrates talked about this is Socrates describing those same 5 ways of apprehension, cognitive functions, and stages of development. Got one more to go. We've done materialism, 5. Strict dualism. There is no mind. Or if there is, it's disconnected from us. 4. Belief. To be identified with the lesser in conflict and opposition to the greater. Hating understanding, even though it's what we want, what we need. And we all want it too. Understanding, to have the state of mind of the whole and functioning providentially to the parts. Second hypothesis, nous, knowledge with a capital K, to apprehend all of the parts and whole at once. That's the evidence or proof. So while scientific understanding has reason and evidence, the reason of reality is Dianoia, and the proof or evidence is nous, the direct apprehension from your own state of consciousness, without your eyes and ears getting in the way. And the final one, the first one, is our goal of the self. Let's see Socrates talk about his movement through it. Socrates says, he brought me to see, who's that? Parmenides. So this is, we mentioned him a moment ago, Parmenides, his teacher, where he learnt the dialectic. So through the dialectic, his method was the dialectic. And that was enough for me to realize to know the mind through the mind is to realize its very source. As for dreams, they played a major role in my life, but they came after I learned about Parmenides. And we are inferring, you need the dialectic to do dream work. Jesus asked, did Plato capture Parmenides' vision into the source and nature of all that is? So Socrates kind of ignoring that and talking about what Parmenides said. Parmenides brought me to see that without the idea of self, there can be no true philosophy. By bringing me to see through the dialectic that what can be said of the one can also be said of the self. So we can understand the self if we recognize the highest use of one can also be said of the self. With a singleness of vision, he guided me to see how the one self functions as the most brilliant divine luminosity. There's our penultimate or nous experience, second hypothesis. He revealed through his dialectic that between any 2 moments there is a gap that reflects its outpouring of a divine providential nature whose source is the one self. So we talked about understanding as functioning as a human being, but here we go as this is the ultimate. To have your state of mind in the gap between the moments of the physical world so you can outpour a divine providential nature from your own state of being, the one self. That's slightly different what we have been saying as understanding being the whole that's out of time in the gap between in time moments, the gap between each frame of each physical moment. But what was said earlier, your state of mind of the whole to function in time, that was also in the book. Do we see it in the book? No. That's it. It's a direct quote. We've seen it before. He is saying from the one self. So he's elevated the previous definition of understanding into the third hypothesis. Let's see it in the book. What happened? I lost.
Hey, you can't say that to her. You show her some respect.
No, what? Who? I lost my. Okay, let's find it here. Of the whole? State of mind. State of mind is not going to be a good one. All right. I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Let's go back to relief. So, I've lost my buttons for the OBS transitions. So, earlier in the text, Socrates said it's the whole as your state of mind functioning providentially into the parts. So for us functioning as people in Dianoia, understanding our highest excellence, the best we can do as people, keep your state of mind out of time, baby. Don't be moved by the shapes and colors, baby. Keep your memory of or state of mind in the gap or your highest insight, which we've said would be the greater model of beauty. So your creations will be beautiful. The greater model of justice. So your actions in time and in the parts would be just. Socrates is elevating it to say, hey, not only is it the whole of all parts, the second hypothesis, when you elevate the understanding of true understanding or human excellence, our ideal and intended functioning, Dianoia, if you elevate it to its highest definition in the third hypothesis, it's the one self as the whole or your state of mind that pours out into time, the limits, the motion, the differences in parts in time through the gap, which means we are left with one question. The second hypothesis is defined by the whole of parts, but what the heck kind of whole is the first hypothesis, oneself, as our ideal excellence? To know the self in the gap, providentially functioning to parts, the ultimate of justice, our ultimate excellence, flow state, the ultimate of beauty, the ultimate of goodness, the ultimate of excellence. So we're upgrading it from wisdom, which is the greater or paradigm of the whole of all parts, divine luminosity, your whatever vision you've had, keeping that in mind while functioning to the parts. We've gone from the greater idea of justice. Now we're moving into the ultimate. through the Parmenides, through his map of the 5 hypotheses, which is a dialectic and a demonstration of the dialectic. What kind of a whole is the self? Not the greater, but the ultimate. I can't press the buttons.
Die mad about it, bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus Christ, this is not being Anthony or whatever the hell.
That wasn't Emma.
I've been a bad little girl.
Calm down, Emma.
Disgusting. I'm so disgusted.
So disgusted, Emma.
Can I do my plugs now?
Stop with
I'm
the
trying to
plugs.
do comedy career.
I'm doing the comedy to make philosophy more fun.
Well, that's not true because I don't think so.
Yes, it is.
Jester Goon Maxed.
I'm just a goon maxing all the philosophers out there. Whoops. Whoops. There's an internet one. So, what's our question? What is the highest kind of human functioning, our ideal, represented as the third hypothesis, functioning as human beings by having as our source or state of mind the one self? What kind of whole is that? What can be said of the one can be said of the self. It functions as that second hypothesis, divine luminosity. So the first hypothesis to the second. Between any two moments is a gap where there is an outpouring of a divine providential nature, Dianoia, whose source is the one self. He showed in a single stroke the wall of belief. That's the wall we have to bust through. And we've seen, by definition, it opposes the greater. It's the lesser parts of the self affairs in opposition to the greater. The limit opposed to freedom. They teach we had a chatter in here a couple of days ago. What if truth and insight is scary and bad? What if the devil lives there? That's what they teach people, to fear their own benefit. You can't be free. You need a landlord or a CEO to tell you what to do, because you'll be stupid and you'll kill each other. You need oppression by me, because I'm different. I'm the special one. I'm chosen by Jesus to be king or clergy or capitalist. So, the wall of belief harbors all those who believe in that shadow of a reality that they cling to as real. Notice we talked about holding on to your state of mind of the whole of all parts of reality, the greater of reality. Nous, second hypothesis, belief is its shadow, but what you're holding on to is the lesser, fake idea of reality. Fake beauty, pseudo beauty, fake justice, injustice. The limit, the part, the difference is a kind of shadow of, in the sense of holding on to it within your soul. So you're holding on to this, functioning in opposition to the greater, whereas true understanding holds on to the whole of all parts, the second, as your state of mind functioning to parts. Providentially. There's our goodness, there's our justice. And I've lost the button.
You're a little bitch ass baby.
For losing buttons.
I'm going to get you. I'm going to find you.
Find you.
And I'm going to get you.
I'm going to get you for saying that to me. Okay, let's go back. Here we go. A relief came over me when he showed that. So what have we gone? First hypothesis, oneself. Second hypothesis, It's functioning into the divine luminosity, nous. Third hypothesis, Dianoia, dialectic, providential overflowing, but also in the gap or between the gap and time. Fourth hypothesis, belief, clinging to a shadow as if it's real, the human problem we are supposed to be overcoming here in our part of history. And the final one, fifth, a relief came over me when he showed that the dualism so many take as real is empty. How does that show it's not real? Since neither the one nor all that is, first and second hypothesis, can ever touch one another. Indeed, he then put all I had together and seen in such a way that I could not assume anything else was true. He did this by way of a demonstration that showed it was necessary if by its denial it alone could exist. So for each of those five, if you deny them, you show it they're necessary. That gives us the extended set 9. If you add ninth hypothesis, rejection of strict dualism, ninth hypothesis, nihilism. Reductionism, reducing everything to physical parts. The seventh hypothesis we're doing now in the book, rejection of the logos. And sixth hypothesis, rejection of the paradigm or nous. But we don't really need that right now. So our question was, why did he talk about, when he was saying, hey, this fifth hypothesis, materialism, isn't real? Because these two don't touch. What has that got to do with anything? What's our other question we're carrying? What kind of a whole is the one self higher than knowledge? So, wisdom would be the combination of the two. Having your state of mind as knowledge and being able to function with understanding. Whether you're in it or you're functioning through it, that's wisdom. Just as these two together, belief and dualism, is ignorance. He's elevating the game. So what kind of a whole? That's where we bring in our Venn diagrams. If these are two terms needed for all experience, perception, existence, then our reality is made up of whole and part, or same and other, same and different, self and other, one and many, rest and motion, etc. We can see that the definition of the second hypothesis is whole of all parts. That's the overlap. He's saying the fifth hypothesis, to reject, to be a part, we are all just atoms, we're all just chemicals. Rejecting the whole is actually a shadow of the self. But then he said, because the self doesn't touch nous or mind, as we see in the Venn diagram, because mind is the whole of all parts. What makes the self different? It's not touched by parts. So it's a kind of not rejection of the lesser, but a transcendence of a lesser. And that must have been what Socrates saw to see why the fifth hypothesis isn't true, to say we are to be the lesser parts difference and disconnected from the greater, what it's supposed to be, what it's a shadow of, just as belief is a shadow of mind or shadow of knowing, fifth hypothesis is a shadow of self. Because the self isn't the lesser, it's the greater. And it's also disconnected from the lesser in a transcendent way. So there's another line of symmetry we can see. The first hypothesis is reflected in the fifth. Fifth, the lesser disconnected from the greater, and the self is the greater transcending the lesser. See? distorted reflection. Just as the second hypothesis, mind, whole of all parts, is like the fourth, in that they cling to it as a lesser shadow of reality. Whereas the second is the greater experience of reality or goodness or beauty or all of those eidos. Which means the third hypothesis is the line of symmetry. So we can look at the 5 hypotheses that way. First hypothesis, distorted into the 5th. The second, distorted into the 4th. The line of symmetry, the 3rd, which is the state of mind of ideally both the transcendent whole of the self and the paradigm, the whole of all parts of mind functioning. There's our triad, our threesome of self, mind, functioning. And this, of course, functions both ways. It's understanding that can solve human problems caused by ignorance, 4th and 5th, and perfect human excellence, moving into the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Well, moving into the 1st, 2nd, allowing for the perfection of 3rd. Both of these perfect the 3rd, because you're perfecting your mastery of the dialectic through midwifery by removing problems, and you're perfecting it by excellence by reaching the 1st and 2nd. Therefore, 3rd hypothesis is the meaning of life, our purpose. That's the dialectic. The dialectic, the functioning or power of the logos. Therefore, the meaning of life. Defined. Now, while we define it, we have to recognize, while we can define the nature of human problems and excellence and the meaning of life, we have to recognize we are in it. We're not aliens examining a human being with their problems. We are human beings with human problems. Meaning, even though we've defined it, we will reject it, at least in the beginning, as you develop courage and you wonder about it and you talk about it with your friends over coffee. Cheers. Which means we can also do a 5-step map of how we interpret or reject truth, as we make the human journey as little human bods from the 4th into the 3rd, the hero's journey. The end of the hero's journey, you have a new art, a new magic skill that you take home to solve the problems of the homeworld. That's the archetype in the hero's journey. That's the dialectic. So, there we go. Our job is to purify 4th and 5th. Oh. And move into the 2nd and 1st. Therefore, all of this was to provide, by definition, that belief is the cause of human problems. Proof that the cause of human problems is belief. By definition, how do we define it? What color? Let's go.
I would scoop the moon in a cup for you.
I'll scoop the moon in the cup for anybody who's having fun learning this.
Imagine people changing their positions and better.
Imagine
I
people.
love this guy.
Thank you. Maybe I'll let you do plugs sometime. Too big. That's what she said.
Dumbass. You're a baby. You're a little baby.
Sorry, that was a baby joke.
These absolute dullards, borderline chimps who want to kiss a fox.
Definition. By definition, Beliefs are defined by self-identification, state of mind, and functioning. This is our threesome of the triad or threesome of self. Remember the Oracle, what Oracle says?
No, people don't logic their way into stupid. Personality maxing requires you to look inward on a deeper level, and it's harder to fix because then you have to make fundamental changes to who you are as a person. And it's because it feels like a much more core component of themselves that they don't want to change. Like, it's like, well, then if I change this, who am I?
Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? That's what the Oracle says, and the Oracle is always right about everything. That's why she's the Oracle, right?
I'm joy maxing, okay? And if I aura mog you because I'm joy maxing so hard, that just sounds like your cortisol levels are spiking for no reason.
And if we disagree, we are spiking our cortisol levels.
All checks out.
All checks out.
If you don't know, now you know.
And now you know. So our self-identification, state of mind, and functioning triad of self in the lesser of the lesser of the lesser of self, logos, or selfers pair pair in conflict and opposition to the greater, which means it's by definition, belief functions in opposition to the third, second, and first triad of self. In demonstration, we all seek the good, but only beliefs can convince you the bad is good. If you understand the good, then you know what the good is. Believing some other idiot can convince you that the bad is good, or that the bad can cause something good. Hey, doing this bad thing, killing other people, saves the people because, hey, the Romans killed others and that protected their empire. No, it caused the end of the empire, you idiot. Protecting your empire from negative outside forces was the good thing, just as we protect ourselves from the pathologos. Not the bad thing, the good thing. Punishment is an example of this. Doing this bad thing, abusing this child, will teach them a lesson. Fucking stupid. Savagery. Savage animals. Rejecting their own higher functioning of reasoned reflection and understanding to feel like a big strong fuckhead, hurting someone you have power over. Bosses, teachers, judges, police, politicians, warmongers, clergy, always the same. Punishment. And we've done a dialectic on how punishment is fucking stupid. We've done many already in this series, so you can check that out. It's earlier in the text. And this against So you can convince someone that the bad is good, because you can't do that with understanding. So that's against understanding. Understanding of the good. That's why you don't ask questions at church or whatever the fuck. You just listen and do as you're told. Otherwise, they will beat you. These stupid fuckers. Human beings can be so stupid, so cruel. But human beings can be wonderful as well. Depends on what side of the line of belief and understanding you're on. Or you can use belief to say, hey, do this bad thing because it will get you good things. Against. So what does understanding use that belief doesn't? Principles. Against the principle. What's the principle in effect here? As above, so below, or principle of likeness. A fire is hot. A believer can say, yes, you will cool down if you jump into the fire, when they're trying to trick you to act against your own interests. Conservatives, clergy, capitalists, CCC, the new KKK. Rebranded.
That one's perfect and exactly the case.
That was pretty funny of me.
If you don't know, now you know.
And now you know.
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new bound.
Yes, we are brave. And crossing into new boundaries. Against the principle of likeness. Get rid of the KK on the board. Of likeness. Likeness. A fire is hot. It does. Its effect is like its cause. Cause and effect. Model and copy. Greater and lesser. To use the... when you're talking about cause and effect, model and copy, you're using those building blocks we mentioned earlier from that triad. Lesser, greater. And of course, it's a triad, lesser, greater, ultimate. There has to be a first cause of axioms for allow that axiomatic principle of model to copy. Or likeness. Likeness. Isn't that fun? Is that fun? Yes, it's fun.
I would scoop the moon in a cup for you.
For you, I would scoop the moon in the cup.
Making ice cream's a good and courageous thing.
That's also a nice thing to say, Emma.
Cookie maxing.
Cookies too are good. I'm out of cookies. I have to pick up cookies today. I have to play music soon. Let me remember to get cookies. Principle of likeness. So, against the principles, belief. Against understanding, belief. So, by demonstration, anyone who's done something bad has been convinced that the bad thing was good, because by principle, all things. Notice, we have to use the principle. Therefore, we've once again, while demonstrating the cause of problems, we've demonstrated the necessity of the meaning of life being understanding, or our purpose and art to master, because we were able to see so simply, belief convinces you the bad is good. Or maybe not the bad is good, but doing this bad thing will get you to the good. So simple. Can fit on a fridge magnet if it's a big fridge magnet. Or 2 bumper stickers next to each other. Remember to give me some of the money if anyone is starting an Etsy store for my lovely quotes. And if you do, then I say, what's this one?
I'm always good. And that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
Okay. Not relevant, but important to know as well.
Funny, cool, and accents. This is, come on.
Thank you. Although for me, it's not an accent, but I appreciate the sentiment. Right, Emma?
Making ice cream's a good and courageous thing.
Yeah, you're always on about ice cream. You just said that. So, We have demonstrated that our purpose is understanding, because in order to see this simple thing that fits on a big fridge magnet, we had to employ a principle. All souls seek the good, which again is axiomatic. It's definitional. It seems obvious. It's necessary to think with, but how do you prove it? You can't until you get into Dianoia, because Dianoia is understanding the good. That's why Dianoia is another reason why, once again, our purpose is Dianoia, because that's where true morality is. How do you know what's good? Oh, because Jesus said so, because Muhammad said so, because Magic Underpants Man said so. No, you idiot. Where did he get it from? Oh, exactly. Understanding the good is what we are doing. So, we could understand this axiomatic principle, but at least we can use it right now. Another principle we're using, principle of likeness. Or what we're doing is recognizing a bastardization of this to say, hey, just kill the Iranians and then happiness. What kind of happiness? Price of oil? What? Jesus will come back? I don't know. What button of your pathologos can I push to get you to do a bad thing? Some of the soldiers, freedom. Some of the soldiers, racism. Some of the soldiers, anti-Islamophobia or Islamophobia. Some of the soldiers, Jesus will come back. They're just throwing, this is the whole fucking Trump, Netanyahu, this is all the fascists. They just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks to your belief bullshit. There's no integrity, there's no truth, there's no principles, they just throw whatever. One day it's freedom, one day it's for Jesus, one day it's for oil, one day it's for regime change, one day it's to save protesters, one day it's to kill protesters. Just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks with to see what hits the divisions. Which is going to hit your pathologos. Is it this prejudice or this prejudice? Is it this religious or supernatural belief or this one? And we're going to use scientific beliefs to make the bombs. So, by definition, the self-identification, state of mind, and functioning. What's that? Oh, that was a G. I'm top G. There we go.
Funny, cool, and accents. Come on.
Come on. The identification of self, state of mind and functioning, triad of self, of the lesser of the self-logos pairs in conflict and opposition to the greater. That's the definition of belief. Definitionally. Believing someone else is a simpler one. But this is the definition that shows that it's the cause of our problems. All souls seek the good. So how does that function? Well, all souls seek the good, but hey, you can function with belief to convince people to do the bad thing. Because belief has nothing to do with understanding. It's against understanding. So you can say, oh yeah, this bad thing's actually good actually. This is good actually. Or doing this bad thing will cause it, against the principle of likeness. That's how belief functions. And if we understand either of these two, either of them, you can see how belief is the cause of human problems. Division. We can break down all of the kinds of divisions of belief, and all of them are in opposition to reason and understanding and principles, except for scientific belief, but scientific belief on its own neglects them. So as a conclusion, we can see, what color? This one. Synthesis. Conclusion has two parts. Can we synthesize the key idea from this? So let's go. synthesis. All oppose reason, evidence, including experience, principles, synthesized as truth. These are all what we've been reading in the text, the standards of truth. Remember our question from a couple episodes ago? How do we know what's true? How do we win the argument against the believers? Well, we have to show what is good and beneficial for the learning and development of souls. Which of the two ideas, conserving belief, conservators, or progression through the logos to understanding? What's our standard? Reason through words, direct experience or evidence, reflecting a higher truth, reason, evidence, and principles. Now, the evidence also doesn't just mean physical evidence, so we'll include direct experience as one of those verifying evidence. Experience of intelligence and principles. Can we synthesize these principles? Which are the standards for truth? So they all oppose truth. Belief, by definition, demonstration, division, oppose truth. Now there's another idea in here, isn't there? Well, about the good. About the good. About the greater. And about self and reality. Good. Truth about the good. Greater. And of course, these are about self and reality, or pathologos is the fundamental division that has scope over the others. So we could pull that one out in our synthesis. It's one way of synthesizing which of the ideas has scope. Self and reality. So the next stage of conclusion has two parts. So conclusion, analysis. You can't really abbreviate analysis, maybe just Anna. Self-identification with, or belief, or the identific. Okay, so here we go. We've got self and reality here, or self and mind. So, belief defined as the let's just use the word being for self-identification, state of mind and functioning. So belief as the cognitive apprehension or state of being, identifying with the lesser of the self pairs, cognitive function or way of apprehending and way of being of belief opposes the truth of the good. That sounds more like the synthesis. No, that could be analysis. So, the cognitive function or way of being of belief that is defined by to accept certain limitations from others, which is an opposition of evidence and reason, is the cause of human problems in conclusion because it opposes the truth of the good. We've demonstrated this in 3 different ways. By definition, it has to oppose the truth of the good. How it functions, it opposes the truth of the good by making the bad appear good or the bad things cause good. And by division, all of the kinds of divisions of belief function in opposition to the truth of the good, causing death, destruction, and suffering. So, there we go. Pretty ironclad. Pretty ironclad. Cause of human problems and belief. We've also distinguished that we're not really, well, we are including scientific belief in that mix because it's needed to make the bombs, so long as it rejects axioms, which again can start as a belief, but we're not defining this as belief because that's the realm of Dianoia. So we have also distinguished the kinds of understanding. There's regular evidence and reason that uses principles and axioms. Whereas true understanding or true thinking, proper thinking, Dianoia is evidence or verified in experience, including more specifically the experience of intelligence itself. Reasoning, it's the model of reasoning, it's the logos, but it's applied to principles. What is the principle of justice we need to demand for all politicians? What's the principle of self that we need to demand for all people wanting to be a spiritual guru? Can't just put on a robe and chant Hare Krishna and get followers and get them to all drink poison and give you money anymore in a sane society. Applied to principles. So what are those principles? What's the principle of beauty for your partner or relationship or the things that you create in the world? Principles and axioms. And as we've seen, the problem with scientific belief alone, well, everything, fucking bombs and war and AI and mass surveillance and all that sort of shit. can't neglect Dianoia. That's our job. To embrace Dianoia and deal with, understand, purify, catalog all of the different catalog. Yeah, sure, why not? So to learn from it, future generations, all of the possible kinds of beliefs that function in opposition. We need to do both to master our job here, to master the outer logos. So we're at a stage of development as an animal where we get all of the beliefs from caveman days that oppose understanding. We're supposed to develop understanding, Dianoia. But also, this is how all of the beliefs come to be. If imagine yourself as a higher dimensional being of self or mind, you have to be functioning through truth and understanding, Dianoia. But you also have to be on guard for all of the possible things that counterattack or oppose the truth of good. Where are you going to learn them? That's what we are learning about from our reading. Just as in our reading, as we learn to understand the text, our own personal beliefs will come up. Don't do that. You can't understand that. You're not as good as Socrates. You're a small bean. You're a bad noodle. You can't do it. Do something else. Get money or something. Scam people or something. All of these family beliefs and personal beliefs of yours that come up, you are supposed to be writing down and cataloging so you can use it, reflect on it to purify yourself from it. That's as above, so below. That's a microcosm of our species. As we move into Dianoia understanding, so we can actually have the truth of the good, what's needed for the development of souls to benefit our species, our planet, our individuals. We also will have all these people saying, no, I hate brown people, not equality for them, or oh, I like to hurt poor people and take advantage of children who are impoverished and bring them to Epstein Island so I can do all these disgusting things to them. I don't want to stop doing that. Spammer.
You piece of shit, there's a robot.
It's a robot.
This is like the worst use of AI.
An example of the worst use of technology.
You don't talk to me, you robot. Shut up.
Shut up, robot.
Disgusting. I'm so disgusted.
Worse than slop. Sludge. Gooners.
You're probably a gooner. So that's our job. Individually, in our relationships, and in our species. To move from belief into Dianoia, while surfacing all of the kinds of human beliefs, clan beliefs, that come up to oppose it. That's why we need both the hypotheses of Parmenides and the hypotheses of interpretation. So, while regular understanding uses principles and axioms, true understanding or true regular thinking, Dianoia, applies evidence and reasoning, experience and reasoning to them. So, we've gone from fifth hypothesis, rejection of understanding and truth, fourth hypothesis, belief, nailed down through a dialectic, why through definition, demonstration, and division, belief is the cause of human problems. We have also done a definition of understanding, the whole overflowing providentially to the parts. That's the dialectic. We've nailed down its kinds of divisions. It's lesser and greater. It's scientific, copy, model, Dianoia. But we've got two more ways of apprehending reality to go. Second and first, the two kinds of apprehensions of the whole. Last time we looked at, well, we've got a working definition of nous, where those principles and axioms lie, the whole of all parts. We've got a loose definition of a pure one, as Socrates gave us in our reading. What can be said of the pure one can be said of the self. So what kind of a whole is that? We've also got that it transcends this. So nous, the knowing of mind itself, which is different from the everyday word of knowing, just as true understanding, Dianoia, is different from regular world understanding. Those self-logos or self-ers, self-logos terms or self-ers we talked about are the aspects that we verify in pure intelligence, but they have to have a cause. As above, so below. So what's the axiom of axioms? And last time we talked about, well, those things that we use in the physical world, the idea of scope, principles, causes, that we can apprehend and have some awareness of, those are themselves principles that exist in nous. Because the axioms are the principles and causes that you can apprehend in pure intelligence, that have scope over our physical world. So what's the cause of them? What's the cause of scope? What's the cause of causes? What's the principle of principles? What's the scope of scope? What has the scope over all scope? What is the apprehendable, what apprehension itself? Or the best word, cause of causes, principle of principles, axioms of axioms, the awareness of awareness itself. And we did see that in the text. Let's see it one more time for fun. Opens itself. When reasoning brings a quietness of mind and one can drop away everything. Oh, well, let's go back a bit because here we have our evidence and reasoning that we've been using. So the pull, so this is the human purpose thing we were just talking about, Socrates saying it. The pull to oppose the new and resist change into Dianoia is a fundamental conservative impulse, the definition of the right wing, also capitalists and clergy, but it's the literal definition of right wing or conservatism, to oppose the new and resist change into Dianoia. As looking forward to meaningful change, to be inspired and looking forward, everything the establishment left wing doesn't have is what would be the true political party, the Dianoia party. As looking forward to meaningful change is an opposite movement. The issue between the true political party and the pathologos parties, the issue between these forces hinges on whether the proposals of each benefit the growth and development of the soul. As we've seen, they can't in principle because they're based on belief, and belief opposes the truth of the good of soul. When it can be demonstrated, as we've done, that only one is true, and reflects a higher truth, there's our principle of our idea of principles or axioms, and nous, capital T, then the issue becomes critical. In this struggle over truth between Dianoia, which can see it, and belief, as we've shown, that can't, that opposes the truth, it becomes necessary to say which of these comes closest to revealing and making intelligible the truth of the ideas being contested. Where one can confirm what we have explored through a process of reasoning through words, evidence, reason, and appealing to the kind of experience that comes along with the encounter with intelligence. There's our Dianoia, evidence and reason. The evidence is reasoning through words, the logos, the dialectic, and that's the reasoning, and the evidence is appealing to this encounter of pure intelligence. That's the highest kind of intelligence, even better than seeing through your physical senses. It's seeing directly. When reasoning, okay, this is the next step. When reasoning brings with it a quietness of the mind and one can drop away everything, even that divine luminosity, the encounter with intelligence, the standard, the paradigm of truth, justice, and what benefits the soul, even that falls away to see what sees. It is then that sight opens itself up to itself, the self. Equally, the drowning oneself in empty phrases breeds chaos. So, sight opening itself up to itself, or seeing what sees, we are saying as right. Belief opposes evidence and reason, the cause of human problems. Regular understanding uses evidence and reason in the physical world and uses principles and axioms. Better, but still not ideal. True understanding, or Dianoia, the evidence is the verification and experience of intelligence. As we just read, of intelligence or mind, intelligence, and the reasoning is the dialectic, as we just demonstrated today. Which appeals applied to non-physical, applied to principles and axioms. So, while regular everyday world understanding, physical world understanding uses evidence, reason, principles, and axioms, we are understanding reasoning. We are understanding direct experience. We're understanding principles and axioms and reasoning. And experience. So all of the things that are, it's that quote from Jurassic Park, where that creepy guy, human beings will find a way. Yes, what I'm trying to say is, yes, the mathematicists or something. What's his name? Bloomberg? No. Fuck, what's his name? I have to find it. There's a guy on Jurassic Park gets eaten by a T-Rex. Actor. No. Jurassic Park. I don't know if he gets eaten. Mathematician. Life finds a way. Actor. Dr. Ian Malcolm or Jeff Goldblum. That's the one I was thinking of. So Goldblum says, hey, you guys have made these dinosaurs and stuff, building upon things before you without ever asking whether you should. You're using all these things, these principles, these experiments and stuff from others, DNA research and stuff, without ever looking at them. Similarly, we can say of all scientific, it's a message for everyone in the world. We have to look at reasoning itself. Don't just use reasoning to make dinosaurs or nuclear weapons. Don't just use evidence and reason, but understand what evidence and reason is. Reasoning, logos, and experience, nous, or Dianoia and nous. So, Beliefs are the cause of human problems because it's in opposition to reason and evidence, supernatural religious beliefs, prejudice beliefs, ultimately pathologos beliefs. Understanding, physical world understanding or scientific understanding uses evidence, reason, principles, and axioms without ever knowing what they are. True understanding, Dianoia, is applied to principles, axioms, reasoning, and experience. So we're into the realm of axiom, into the realm of mind from the physical world. And therefore, we can ask the question, hey, if we're looking at the principles now, the causes now, reasoning or logos now, what is the principle of principles? What's the cause of causes? What's the axiom of axioms? What's the logos of logos? Self-logos? Or experience, to talk about how we would experience it, we can ask the question, what is the awareness of awareness itself? Which brings us all the way back to Socrates saying, when I left good versus evil shit, there was a woman who said, hey, what is the whole of all seeing, hearing, and thinking right now? What is the whole? What is the awareness of everything? Not the parts, but what is the whole? What's awareness itself? That's what led Socrates into nailing it down through the dialectic, the oneself. So, we've nailed down, by definition, demonstration, and division, how and why beliefs are the cause of our problems, by pointing out the pathologos belief underneath it as fundamental to all human beings. We can see that we can understand the drama. It's our fierce loyalty to the cause of problems belief that functions in opposition to understanding, that makes it difficult for humans to just be happy and be kick ass and have a wonderful time. Pathologos is the root cause, therefore, of our loyalty to beliefs, the root cause of our human problems. Understanding is different from belief. The regular use of understanding in the physical world uses evidence, reason, principles, and axioms, but true understanding, Dianoia, applies our thinking to those. What are the principles? What are the axioms? What is the reasoning? What is the dialectic? What are the highest experiences we can have? Which is necessary for that map of the soul So Dianoia is necessary for the map of the soul. What are the different levels? As we've also shown, demonstrated, we need to use Dianoia understanding to recognize and understand why human problems are caused by belief. But we also just read, hey, what's needed for our society and our race is to use that map of the soul to show necessary to, reveal and make intelligible the truth of what is beneficial for the growth and development of the soul. Intelligible truth of what benefits the growth and development of the soul. So, as we just read, The conservative impulse to defend the beliefs that are the cause of human suffering and misery and conflict, in opposition to true meaningful change, the Dianoia, is a crucial issue of humanity. And what wins is that which can show what benefits the growth and development of the soul, demonstrate which is true and which isn't, and that is confirmed through the reasoning through words, appealing to the higher kind of experience that comes along with the encounter with intelligence. Sorry, I missed the part. It becomes, in the struggle over truth between conservatism and understanding, it becomes necessary to say which of these comes closest to revealing and making intelligible the truth of the ideas being contested. So that's what's needed. That's how we win the game. For everyone, no one fucking loses here. Dianoia. Understanding, which uses evidence and reasoning of the highest kind, reasoning, dialectic, evidence, the appeal to direct experience of intelligence, but also applies itself to understanding principles, axioms, reasoning, and experience themselves, which is necessary to make the map of the soul, which is necessary to reveal and make intelligible what actually benefits. How do you benefit? Oh, you climb up this ladder. Oh, really? What's the ladder? Oh, it's over here. It's what we have mapped out through understanding. But on that ladder, we have seen that this there is also, so what we've done is we've mapped it out. We've seen all of the stages, all of the kinds of apprehension using Dianoia. That's different from second hypothesis nous and first hypothesis oneself, the penultimate and ultimate spiritual states. So that's our question for next time. Can we use Dianoia to guide our own reflection on these things in some way that might help us recognize a different cognitive function, different even to Dianoia, that we are referring to as a higher state of nous or self? What's that like? And can we get a taste of it? Because what we've done today is the first part. Remember the pyramid? Our purpose is to use the dialectic or master the art of dialectic. That's our purpose as human beings at this stage of evolution. What we've done today is use it to understand and purify our problems caused by belief, or pathologos. Pathologos being the lowest of those divisions. The other part of mastering the dialectic is to apply it to the logos, which we've done a little bit of because we've recognized the difference between Dianoia and scientific understanding. But to perfect our movement up the ladder. The ladder is the fifth stage of the pyramid. So today we've tackled fifth hypothesis materialism, or we've tackled the rejection of mind is actually a reflection of the oneself, so that's not good. Can't reject our ability to know the mind or the self. Today we went through belief. We used our Dianoia, third hypothesis, to understand the nature of belief, which is the fourth hypothesis, specifically religious or supernatural belief, absurd belief, prejudice belief, and pathologos belief, which keeps us loyal to our beliefs and preventing our movement. So we were perfecting and demonstrating third hypothesis, and we also use the dialect, or use Dianoia to distinguish Dianoia understanding from scientific understanding. We even sneaked it into the category of belief because of how it functions by using it like Jurassic Park without understanding it. Nuclear bombs. Jurassic Park dinosaur chaos. So what have we got left? We have to use our understanding to move into the second hypothesis, the brilliant light of being. There's a sense that we have that we can become aware of and open up, become receptive to. And using the principle that we've been reading about, as above, so below, this jump from Dianoia to a different cognitive function will be like, so we can apply this back to itself, ousia, to make the double jump. Is there a state of cognitive apprehension, cognitive function, even beyond that? Taking us to the first, taking us through the map. So, fun?
Everybody should love sluts. I love sluts.
Everybody should.
It makes sense.
We do make sense.
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new boundaries.
We're crossing into new boundaries. Right,
The
Emma?
more holes, the better.
Brain rot crap. Listen and learn, morons. This is gangster.
That's right. This is gangster.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
And hopefully your head is now quite large and filled with secrets. But I encourage you not to keep them secret and share them with whoever you can and however way you can. So, have we done good? Bring everything that we've learned together to make clear why beliefs are the problem, how they're the problem, definitionally, demonstrationally, and through their divisions. Next time, can we wonder about and maybe awaken the second and first hypothesis kinds of apprehensions, which would be greater even than what we did today? Who knows? Worth a try, because it's fun.
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike, dude?
Joy and whimsy for us.
Cookie maxing.
And also cookie maxing. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. And then this button, which never works. I'll try it again. See you in the next one.